tell us how your Thursday went.
Perfect practice Thursday is kind of how we put it. As you know, you've seen us play the last couple of weeks, and what we haven't been is perfect. So today was our opportunity to talk about attention to detail, the littlest things. And, we're work in progress as it relates to that. So that was today, really.
Yeah, coming back from yesterday being so physical, did that help? Did you see that today?
Well, we've got all our guys are, their attention is really good. I mean, in terms of what we want accomplished, we've got their attention. And so today was, a different day than yesterday. It wasn't a physical day, but it was a day where mentally they had to be sharp. And I'm never pleased on Thursday because essentially for me, I lose a little bit of the control of what happens on Saturday. See, I can control everything as a football coach, and we're control freaks. I can control everything up through the last day we practice, and that's today. So I'm usually very grouchy today, and I think I held up to that standard.
Ryan, now that I know that you're grouchy, I'll ask you about Gary Gray. I know that you have been asked a lot about what went wrong Saturday. What tack did you kind of take with Gary this week in trying to bring a guy like that back?
That he's had great games for us. He's been a consistently solid performer for us. And if he lets one game change the way he plays, then shame on him. Really, that's what I told him. I said, you don't have time to feel bad for yourself. You need to get back up and get going. And those are the things that we're trying to teach our guys every day, how you overcome some adversity. Yeah, he had a bad day. Don't make it 2 bad days. And you can make it 2 bad days if you don't get back to work. And he had a great week of practice, so I expect him to get back to the play that he's had leading up to the Michigan game.
When I asked you yesterday about Harrison's role, you said, I kind of want to take control here. I don't want to put it on his shoulders. But what does leadership look like on a week like this?
Well, I think it's more than anything else, really walking the walk and talking the talk. We set the tone for what we expect our players to be like, and I think they're going down that path. In other words, we talked about what we have to do as a football team. We can't think about what happened in the past. We got to think about right now and what we have to do to change our current circumstances. And I didn't watch the interviews, but I've been told that they pretty much wanted to stay in the present. And I'm glad, because that's the way we have to play. We can't worry about what happened last week. We want to learn from it, but that's what I want our players to do is to carry the message that I send when we get back together on Monday, and I think they're doing that.
Personnel-wise, Sean Sonar ready to go?
Yeah, he's had a good week. He'll play.
And Bren Koyak, will he be the number 2 tight end?
He is the number 2 tight end. That's correct. Yep.
With that, how much does loss for going kind of change the power game or your desire to use it?
Well, he's a good point of attack blocker for us, but we're hoping that Ben can step in there. And I think when we get Goic healthy, he'll help, and Welch. So I think it's obviously, going into the game, you have to decide how you're going to play it anyways. And Michigan State is a pretty stout team. In the Big Ten, there's a lot of power running football teams. So, we know we're going to have to pick our spots, but we'll have to try it with Ben Koyak.
On that note, it was last year, this game is when you noted the fourth quarter, you guys kind of changed defensively. You noticed that toughness. They held them to, I think it was -6 yards in the fourth quarter overtime. How did you stem that tide? Because it was kind of rolling downhill until that point.
Well, I don't know if we stemmed the tide as much as it's just, repetition. I think, just doing the same things, hearing the same things, we're just, we're a little further along. We got a little further along in that game. But I don't know that there was, we didn't stem the tide against Navy very good. So, I just think that our guys, we're starting to get a little bit better, at running the defense.
Brian, last year at a certain point during the season, you started using cards on the sideline to signal in plays because you felt like security had been breached, I guess. I don't know if you heard the Michigan State defensive coordinator suggested that you guys stole signals from them last year. Where do you fall on that? Is that all fair game, like stealing signals in baseball, or how do you feel about that?
No, we're not looking to steal anybody's signals. We have enough problems with our own stuff. I mean, I'm worried about whether we're going to get the play in and call the right play. That's just too much, for us to handle. No, I don't think it's appropriate to, film anybody's sideline and pick up signals. You don't need to do that. We'll take care of what we can take care of, and believe me, that's the last thing on our line. We got our hands full with our own guys.
What about, not necessarily filming, but I mean, guys stand on the sidelines like, that's why I use the baseball correlation, stealing a third base coach's signs.
Oh, I see what you're saying in terms of just the flow of the game.
Yeah, I mean, if you do.
Yeah, I think if you pick up something during the course of the game, we have to change our signals each and every week. Tommy Rees is out there doing, this, and everybody sees it. The next week, it's got to be a new signal.
Right.
So if Tommy came out and did the same thing and they picked that up, that's on us. We need to change the signal if everybody else can see it. I didn't know your first question, if you were referring to just the basic flow of the game. If it's just in the basic flow of the game, and you know what that is, it's the team has to make sure that they're not breached from that standpoint. But I don't think you should be doing any undercover work to steal signals. You need to spend on your own time on your own team.
I asked about Sean because Louis Nix, last couple of weeks, his first action there, it seems like that stamina issue is holding up pretty well.
He's doing pretty good, yeah.
Have you been surprised? Because I think you mentioned maybe at the end of spring 12, 15.
Yeah, we weren't really sure, because he hadn't really shown it. So we were still going off his body of work, which it wasn't really good. But he's shown that he can handle more, and we'll continue to throw more on his plate. But with Sean healthy, that's definitely going to help us as a football team because, when he goes in there, he'll be able to give us some quality. Not that Hafiz didn't, but now you've got 3 guys that you can rotate in. We can keep him fresh.
What do you think is a good volume for Louis?
I'd say about 40 plays. He's up to about 40.
Brian, where are you? We kind of picked and chose here, but injuries overall, are we missing anybody there? Spond.
Hamstring.
And he's?
I'd say he's probably another week.
Okay.
But we'll see. He's responded really good to treatment. I think we've called it a 1+. And a 1+ for us usually is 10 days. We'll see how guys are different, in terms of how they respond. So that's Danny. Welch will be activated and he'll be dressed, whether we play him or not. He's still a little tender on that foot, so my guess is he's questionable as to whether he'll play. If it's an emergency, we'll probably get him in there, but that's Welch. Who else? Golik's good, ready to go. Yep, he's had a good week of practice. Anybody else?
Coach, when it comes to protecting the football and executing the red zone, is it one of those things where you'll find out on Saturday, or are there things that you can see during the week that make you feel like, okay, I think that we are on the right track?
It's all about Saturday, because we've been doing the same things. I promise everybody that we've been working on ball security and not throwing interceptions. They hear from me anytime the ball's on the ground and we throw an interception. So if you could just let everybody know if they're concerned, we're working on it. I'm not happy about it. Our coaches aren't happy about it. Our players don't want to do it. We just got to get it done on Saturday.
Brian, we get a lot of advice for you through email. Does it ever make it through all the walls to you? In your personal email, does it ever make it all the way to you that you hear about it?
Oh, yeah. I read every newspaper. I'm on every website. I read all that stuff in the morning. It's what gets me going.
Speaking of emails, I'm emptying the notebook here. The condition of the playing surface in Notre Dame Stadium, what have you been told about that, and is that a concern to you?
It's not a concern. No.
Has that been discussed? Have you discussed that with?
In terms of, we've played with the thought, because I think I brought it up a couple of times. Field turf. I've been in favor of field turf. I've played on field turf, and I like that. But that's not going to be my decision. I mean, that's going to be above. That'll be Jack Swarbrick. He'll have to make that call.
But following up on what Tim said, I mean, didn't it look like there were chunks, or was it just our imagination during the South Florida game of turf kind of coming out of there like Soldier Field?
Like dust flying up on that grass surface.
I'm not.
You're not watching it?
I'm not. I really am not. And if it was, it didn't affect the way we played the game. I don't know. We turned the ball over on the 1-yard line. We turned the ball all over the place. It wasn't the field. The field, you had two teams competing, and I didn't see you know, a field that, you know, gave us a disadvantage in any way.
Coach, you've had a lot of big games, but is it safe to say this might be your biggest game while you've been at Notre Dame for a number of reasons?
They're all, I mean, I'm going to use a coaching cliche, and I know you've heard this before, but I take them just as they're scheduled. I really don't put any more pressure on myself than I do for, you know, the opener to the last game. I treat them all the same, and I coach the same way our team, you know, so we don't have those. Every game we play here is a big game. So I don't know how to answer the question other than it's as big as any game we're playing because it's the only one we got.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.